In the gym, we often see this common mistake: pulling the elbow back or not separating the forearm and upper arm, which results in a lack of power. So today, we'll focus on why you need to separate your forearm and upper arm, how to do it correctly, and what the benefits are. First, for the forehand drive, the key is to open up your forearm through external rotation when it's in the forehand position. If you don't externally rotate during your backswing, your arm isn't properly opened up. This means the inside of your forearm should be facing towards the front of the table. The reason you can't open up your body during a match is that when the ball comes wide to your forehand, you move your body laterally to the forehand side. Instead, if I keep my hand still and just rotate my body, my arm naturally opens up. If your body is facing straight ahead, you can't open up your forearm. Moreover, if you pull your racket backward during your backswing, you're likely to get jammed by the incoming ball. Only by using your body to lead your arm can you fully open up your upper arm and forearm. So when the ball comes, don't just rotate your forearm. The most crucial part is letting your body lead the entire arm. This is the foundation for your drive, loop, and strokes against backspin. When the inside of your forearm faces forward towards the table, you've established the foundation for powerful shots. This also sets up your upper arm to drive forward, which is essential for creating synergy in your follow-through. Secondly, for a forehand drive, you rotate backwards horizontally. My upper arm points down, and my forearm is kept level. When looping, however, the upper arm must stay close to the body and drop downwards. This is different from a drive, which requires a horizontal, sideways opening. Watch the distance between my arm and my body. When looping, your upper arm needs to be slightly closer to your body. You can't have it extended out to the side like a drive. This is because a wide backswing will cause you to get jammed by the incoming ball. The looping motion is larger, it doesn't just go sideways but also requires you to open up downwards. A drive opens to the side, while a loop requires the backswing to drop down close to the body, towards your lower right. Many players use the same wide, sideways backswing for both their drive and their loop, which is why coaches tell them their backswing is too big. The correct loop backswing stays close to the body, swinging down and to your right before moving forward. The drive is open sideways, rotate, open sideways, rotate. The loop is backswing close to the body, then execute an outside in arc. This is a critical difference between the drive and the loop. Many players feel rushed for this exact reason. It's because your upper arm and hand aren't staying close to your body during the backswing, they're swinging out too wide. For flat impact, your racket should be behind the ball, not under it. You must contact the back of the ball. During impact, the forearm must be kept level. Many players lack quality in their loops because whenever they try to generate power, their forearm is pointing downwards. To generate quality on both topspin and backspin balls, your forearm must be level after contact, which sets you up for a powerful follow-up shot. You can only execute a power loop if your forearm is level. If you try to hit a power shot with your forearm angled down, you will naturally create more brush and less impact. Many players' forehand drives are not pure impact, they always incorporate an upward brushing motion. If your racket is below the ball at contact, any upward swing will inevitably create friction, the only variable is how much. This type of shot will never have the forward momentum you're looking for. Even when looping a backspin ball from a low position, my forearm becomes level after I brush the ball, allowing me to treat the next shot like a topspin rally ball. By meeting the ball with a topspin rally mindset, I can generate a powerful loop. If I want solid contact but my forearm is pointing down, I won't succeed. Conversely, to create spin, my forearm must be angled downwards to brush the ball and generate a high arc. This is why you hit the net when someone pushes to your forehand, you haven't prepared properly, and your racket angle is too flat at the point of contact. To lift backspin, your forearm and wrist must be angled downwards at the moment of contact to create friction. If your racket is flat, you will hit the net. The state of your forearm must change depending on the ball you receive. If I want to hit flat, I keep it level. If I want to brush, I drop it down. This refers to the moment of contact, not your preparation. A good prep is useless if your arm flattens out right as you hit the ball. If my goal is to loop the ball, I must maintain a downward forearm and racket angle right up until I make contact. If my goal is to drive the ball, no matter how low it is, I have to keep my forearm level and hit forward through the back of it. Therefore, the orientation of your forearm is critical. For speed, get behind the ball. For spin, get under the ball. The heavier the backspin, the more your racket tip should point towards the floor. Your forearm must master 4 states: level for a drive, raised for a block, lowered for a topspin loop, and tucked behind your body for a backspin loop. Avoid actively moving the upper arm forward, backward, up, down, or flipping it. These are all incorrect. The upper arm's natural position is pointing downwards. The upper arm is passive, it moves only as a result of your body's rotation. It shouldn't move up and down on its own. Against backspin, you tuck your arm behind your body because the ball is slower. This gives you more time to load up and prepare your shot. Additionally, lifting backspin requires good friction on contact. Tucking your arm behind your body forces you to swing with an outer arc, which naturally creates the necessary trajectory. Next, let's discuss how the forearm and upper arm work together to meet the ball forward. For a topspin ball, after your backswing, your upper arm should drive forward horizontally, followed by a swift closing of the forearm. This is a classic example of a forward driving motion. The same applies to the backhand. Your upper arm should drive forward to send the ball out, and then your forearm moves upward to create topspin. The reason you can't engage the ball forward is because at the moment of contact, your upper arm is moving upwards instead of forwards. An upward moving upper arm will never allow you to generate real power. If both your upper arm and forearm move up, there's no synergy. Your upper arm must drive forward while your forearm snaps upward to create synchronized power. Every player who struggles with power fails to engage the ball forward because their upper arm lifts at contact. Only when the upper arm drives forward can the forearm independently snap upward. The sequence is forward, then upward. A purely upward motion creates no power. This is why many players can't handle heavy, low backspin pushes during a match. This type of push has no pace and is very low and spinny, requiring you to actively drive forward into it. Against this ball, if you only lift upward, the ball will slip on your racket, making you feel like the spin is overwhelming. You feel powerless because a heavy backspin ball is not only spinny but also heavy or dead. Against a heavy ball, I must drive forward. Only by making solid, forward contact first can my upward brush effectively lift the ball over the net. The mechanism for driving forward involves moving the upper arm forward, closing the forearm from open to closed on the forehand side, and doing the opposite on the backhand side. In table tennis, borrowing power depends on your opponent's level. For instance, you can only feed off their pace when they're confident enough to push long and deep. When your opponent isn't afraid to hit hard from both wings, this stroke is no problem at all. You can easily borrow their pace. However, at the beginner level, all the returns are soft. You'll feel like you can't generate power whether you stand close to the table or far away. The root of the problem is your mechanical framework. This is especially true for the backhand. My backhand is effective because I commit to moving forward into the ball. In contrast, many players react to heavy spin by simply lifting upwards. Think of long pimples, you don't chop upwards with them. You either push forward or swipe sideways. The first part of any stroke is always forward. With inverted rubber, we simply add an upward component after the forward motion to generate more quality on the shot. Learn to meet the ball with your upper arm, and then learn to close the forearm to complete the stroke. The key is to drive forward, then close the forearm. Simply closing the forearm won't work. You must drive into the ball first, then close the forearm. This is vital. Now that we understand the roles of the upper arm and forearm, how do we assign their tasks for different shots? For a forehand drive where you want speed, the upper arm must only move forward horizontally. After the upper arm drives forward, the forearm accelerates and snaps closed. This is how you generate power. When looping a topspin ball, you must drop down close to your body, and then the upper arm drives forward. Once your hand is over the table, the forearm snaps inward to complete the stroke. That is how you loop a topspin ball. Against a heavy backspin ball, the upper arm's role is a bit more complex. You first drop it down, then bring it forward, and finally lift it upward before the forearm snaps inward. This is the technique for very spinny balls. Amateur players, especially women, struggle to lift backspin because their looping motion is just a modified forehand drive. Their drive is horizontal, so their loop against backspin is just a slightly lowered version of that. The biggest problem for female players is not using the upper arm enough. The problem for male players is using the upper arm too much. Female players struggle with backspin because they use too little upper arm. They just pretend to drop their drive stroke a bit, but it's still fundamentally a drive. The upper arm lacks vertical movement. The upper arm doesn't drop down and it doesn't lift up, it remains static. Only the forearm is moving. Therefore, when the opponent sends a heavy backspin ball, they can't lift it. Male players, on the other hand, swing with too much upper arm. When they time it right, the power is immense. When they don't, they make a lot of errors. Your technical framework determines your potential. You cannot rely entirely on either the upper arm or the forearm. For example, when looping backspin, the entire upper arm must drop with the body on the backswing and then lift forward and upward with the body during the stroke. If the ball isn't very spinny, I only need to drive forward to a certain point before closing my forearm to accelerate the ball. The forearm is what provides the explosive speed, creating acceleration after the bounce like the crack of a whip. So, for light backspin, I might start closing my forearm halfway through the forward motion. If the ball is very spinny, I need to use my upper arm to lift higher and further forward before snapping the forearm closed. You must adjust based on the opponent's spin. Don't just keep the upper arm still and flail with the forearm. The upper arm must be involved in creating vertical movement. This is why we always emphasize using your body to play. It ensures consistent, powerful shots without errors and prevents injuries over the long term. For light backspin, the upper arm drives slightly forward. For heavy backspin, the upper arm drives forward and upward, followed by the forearm closing. For topspin rallies and drives, the upper arm only moves forward, after which the forearm snaps shut. The upper arm engages the ball, and the forearm finishes the shot. If you only use the upper arm to push, you'll make errors when you add power. The forearm functions to control the ball's arc, ensuring it lands on the table.